Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Movies with the Man. I'm Murray.
And I'm Justin.
And on this week's episode, we're going to be doing Race with the Devil. Ladies and gentlemen, won't you please join us on our cinematic journey as we watch the spectacular and the craptacular. Welcome to Movies with the Man. So, for those of you not familiar with Race for the Devil, I'm going to go ahead and read the description from Google. Roger, played by Peter Fonda, and his friend Frank, played by Warren Oates, and their wives, Laura Parker and Loretta Swit, are heading from San Antonio to the wilderness of rural Texas for some off-road motocross. What they find instead is a satanic cult sacrifice, and they are unfortunate enough to be caught observing the ritual. Naturally, this doesn't sit too well with the cult members. Now Roger and Frank are on the run from what is apparently a very sizable Texan Satanist community. That very much underplays the size of this Satanist community, because I thought watching this movie that the entire state was Satanist.
The reach of this satanic community is great, to say the least.
So this movie was released on June 27th, 1975. Its budget was $1.745 million. At the box office, this is what cracks me up, is that Wikipedia says 12 million or 6 million. Now that's quite a discrepancy there. Yes. I'm like, well, which is it?
Both are a decent return on investment.
100%, especially for 1975.
That's a big difference.
If you are interested in watching this movie, it's available for rent on Amazon Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, and Fandango at home. So the beginning of the movie is mostly relationship building. So you're able to see like how Frank and Roger, how good of friends they are because they work together.
They're in together some sort of motocross business.
I couldn't.
It wasn't clear.
Yes, because one of them's a racer and one of them seemed to own a bike shop.
Right.
So I was very confused as to what exactly they both did.
I felt like I got the impression that they were starting up some sort of race circuit.
Yeah, that is what it seemed like, which...
it's been in the works for a while, and it's finally starting to come to fruition.
Which I thought was funny, considering that this is that Peter Fonda's in this movie, and I had just recently watched Peter Fonda in Crazy Mary, Crazy Larry, where he also was wanting to become a racer in that movie, and I just thought it was like Peter Fonda going through I want to be a racer phase.
Right.
But
and of course his iconic role in
Easy Rider.
Easy Rider, he's a motorcycle. He's riding a motorcycle.
Yeah.
He must have been a big fan of motocross.
I think one of the things that they did really well in this movie is they spent just a little bit of time on the relationship building. They didn't spend too much. Like, I feel like a modern movie would have spent 45 minutes to an hour of building up all of that, and we would have ended up with a 3-hour long movie or something of the sort. So
exactly.
I was happy that they did what they did and that they got right to them getting on their road trip and got them out into the wilderness. And it took 20 minutes for them to get to the campsite where they've encountered the Satanist. Because I paused the movie because I really wanted to know, like, how long are we into this before the...
And it's really the perfect amount of world building. I mean, they drop you right in, but you get just enough knowledge that you know these guys are good friends. It's really starting to come together for them.
Oh, 100%. So I do have some issues once the Satanists come into play into this movie. Because, like, how they decide to park on an just like a road that's off to the side, and they're out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, they're totally boondocking out there. No hookups or anything. They're just living off the land.
And in the middle of the night, a fire erupts, and Roger and Frank are outside having some drinks, and they see this fire, and they walk across, and they see a bunch of people dancing around the fire, and they start getting naked, and Roger and Frank think that they're witnessing an orgy, which, not that I am familiar with orgies. I just never seen one where a weird guy walks around looking like he's wearing animal skin on his face.
I don't know an orgy. I've never been to an orgy, but I know it when I see one. Yeah. And it was definitely going towards orgy.
Well, I guess. And the issue I had at this point in the movie is that the Satanist didn't see the RV that is just perfectly well lit up in the moonlight. They didn't scout the area ahead of time. They did, there was no work ahead. I mean, just come on, man.
Well, Murray, it was way across the river. About 100 yards.
And
but it was, of course, it was the woman who caused the problem by opening up the door, showing all that light.
yeah, Frank's wife.
Yeah.
Frank's wife opens the door to the RV as they're using binoculars to look across the river.
And they're kind of protected. They're hiding in some brush.
Yes, and they're watching them, and they witness a woman held up in the air, and she's sacrificed. And then Frank's wife opens the door to the RV. The lights on the RV are open, and of course,
And she's yelling too.
yeah, screaming at them, which alerts the Satanist. Frank and Roger are like, we got to get the hell out of there, which is another part of the movie that I suddenly have a beef with, because they get into the RV, they take off, they're driving down the road, they have to cross the river to get out of there. And of course, they get stuck in the river. Now, this is where I had a problem. How far away were these Satanists really? Because it seemed to take them like 10 minutes to get all the way up to them, because they had forever to get this vehicle out of the river.
That's a good point. Yes, it did take an unusual amount for these Satanists who are sprinting to get to them. And of course, as they're crossing the river, Frank goes, I'm going to gun it. And you just know he's going to get stuck or high centered or something.
Yeah, it was obviously coming. Like, it was just like, it didn't bother me none. It was a cliche.
It did not bother me either. But yeah, so you make a valid point. But I got swept up in the tenseness of the situation. I mean, you're like, get this RV unstuck.
See, I didn't. I was annoyed by how much time they had, because I just thought, no way. Because when they showed the Satanists running towards them, it's like they were just briskly jogging towards them. And I'm like, these dudes would be sprinting right at them or getting the hell out of there. Right. Like, I don't think they'd be just sticking around. Then because of the uphill drive that they had to put it in low gears, what they had to do to make sure they didn't get stuck again. And that's when the Satanists are able to like get onto the vehicle. And I will say it did get a little bit more tense there, because you thought like they were going to get in. Because if I remember correctly, that's where they break the window on the back.
That's correct.
And I don't know if that's when.
And Peter Fonda has to fend off two guys coming through the window, which he does.
After this, they go straight to the sheriff's department. I made an observation as they're talking to the sheriff. I don't know procedure at like police and sheriff's departments, but I know that they normally don't let the people who are standing around just sit there and kind of just poke around at the guns that they have up against the wall and stuff. And Peter Fonda is just kind of over there by the side, just fiddling with the shotguns.
You're correct. Yes, police departments usually limit where people can go in the police department, and it's not the same place as the weapons.
And here's,
but it was the 70s.
I do feel like they were trying to make the sheriff seem dismissive, but not dismissive at the same time. But I felt like they laid it on way too thick. Like, it was obvious that he just was like, oh, okay, whatever.
Right. He started off good. I thought it seemed like he was taking it serious, but then when they're riding out to the crime scene, he really starts to poo-poo it, and you're kind of getting the impression, oh, these guys really might not be that interested in help.
And then the women are left behind. They find a note that is on the window that has like I don't know if it's a witchcraft hex or whatever, but it's got a warning on it telling them, don't you cause any problems.
A warning
basically.
And a rune, I think is what they said.
And then another part of the movie that bothered me right here is when the women go to the library to try to find books on witchcraft, which I just really got to question if in 1975, some small podunk town in the middle of Texas has a book that has not just one book, but multiple books on witchcraft just hanging out in their library. I would be surprised if I went to our library in our town today and found that many books on witchcraft that had that much information in it.
I love Loretta Swift. Let's go find a library.
Yeah. Oh, and they were going to just check the books out. I was like, they just randomly let out-of-towners come in and check books out? What library does this?
Well, to be fair, that library did not allow them to do that.
Well, yeah, there were reference books because, I mean, they need them because, well, Satanists. From here, one of the things that I think they did really well is that Roger's wife, Kelly, seems to be the most paranoid out of all of them. Like, everything they do, she seems to be observing everybody as being like possibly watching them. Like they go to after they leave the police station, they go to an RV park.
Yes.
And they go swimming. And as they're swimming, they show her in the pool looking at everybody, and she thinks everybody is staring at
All
them.
she can see is everybody staring at her.
Yeah.
And it freaks her out.
And so they get out of the pool, go back to the RV, and while they're there, this random couple just kind of bogarts their way into their RV.
Totally help themselves into the RV, which I would have been like, you can get outside.
Yeah,
now.
after having an incident like this happen, you would 100% have to be like, get the hell out of here. We just, no way. And not only do they bogart their way into it, they end up saying, like, they say, why don't you come over for dinner? And then they say, no, we're going out, which I thought was their way of trying to like say, no, go
we're
away.
trying to get away from them without
without being rude. But then they invite themselves out with them.
Right.
And they go
we
with
know
them.
a real good place.
Yeah, and they go with them, but they not only go with them, they go and tell them about all the Satanist stuff.
Right.
Which I'm thinking, why would you tell anybody this? For two reasons. One, what if they're Satanists? And two, you sound like a nutbag. That's one of the things that I was completely like dumbfounded by. Like, who would do this? And I
don't know if you noticed this, but in the bar behind where the band was playing, they had those same Aztec like paintings, and one of them was like of an Aztec priestess. And
I did not.
Yes.
Wow. So
I thought, oh yeah, these
Satanist bar.
The Satanists are definitely in this bar. In spite of all the misgivings you list, I was really swept up in the frantic action of it once the Satanists start coming after them and their desperation to get the hell out of there.
See, I did feel like it. Like I felt like it was too like it had its moments, but I enjoyed more of the paranoia factor that was going on. I enjoyed that the most. I felt like what I didn't feel the franticness like you did. And I went and read a lot of other reviews, and I felt that a lot of people said exactly what you're saying. And I didn't feel that. Like don't get me wrong. It happens. Like, I mean, we're getting ready to come to one of those scenes in the movie where it happens, but it just wasn't like I expected way more. Like, not trying to jump ahead, but I felt like I was going to get more of the ending throughout the movie because I thought the ending was incredible.
Yes. Not to give away the ending.
Yes.
I loved it.
Yeah. So they come back from this bar and they discover that the door is open to their RV and that the dog is their pet dog is there hanging dead. And conveniently, nobody in the park saw anything. Once again, alluding to the possibility that everybody around there is Satanist.
Yep.
Which is when I, in my head, immediately was thinking, is everybody in the state of Texas a Satanist? Because that is what this seems like. Or
everyone in rural Texas is in fact a Satanist.
And I was also wondering, like, well, how far did they drive? Because you get me to a place where I witness a satanic cult ritual. I am going to drive possibly till I'm dead. Right. I mean, I am not
going to stop. No. I'm going to get myself to a big city.
Yeah, Frank's driving, Roger's driving. Then the girls are driving. Then the vehicle is not stopping.
They show at the very beginning that Loretta Swift can drive this RV.
Yes.
So yeah, we would have been driving in shifts. We would not have stopped.
So as they're driving off, they discover a rattlesnake has been put inside the
right.
RV. Not just one, but two.
Right.
And so as they're driving, Peter Fonda's character is fighting off the rattlesnake. Was he using the ski pole to fight the rattlesnake? Or
no, it was Warren Oates.
Okay, I know Warren Oates was. I didn't know. I can't remember what Peter Fonda was doing, if he was just trying to bat it away. But
I couldn't really tell what Peter Fonda was doing.
Yeah, because I know he ends up falling down and just kind of looking at the snake for 5 minutes.
Right.
And what I didn't understand is that all the women are screaming nonstop, which I am going to be honest, in real life, when there's tense situations and women scream nonstop, I would have had to turn around and be like, shut up! And because I wouldn't have been able to handle it.
Right.
But
it's
my
tense enough. I don't need you screaming in my ear.
But my beef with this situation is they're battling with the rattlesnake, and for some reason, Frank crashes the RV into a tree or whatever, and I didn't understand why. Why didn't he just pull over?
Right.
Why didn't he just stop and pull over? He crashes, and then I can't remember what happens to where the snake comes, like where they find the other snake, but Frank ends up battling that snake with a ski pole. And I'm going to just point out that Frank has the worst aim of any human being known to man, because I think it took him 75 tries to stab the snake before he finally killed it.
Right. It was a painfully long battle.
Oh, it was, yes, it was absurdly long.
And the snakes keep striking and barely missing, I guess. They show a snake hit the jeans, but I guess they have bell bottoms on. So
yes.
It hits the bell bottom part of the jean.
And why at no point while the men are fighting the snakes did they tell the women, get out of here?
Right.
You know, that's something I would have been like, leave, go out the back window, go out the door, whatever.
Get outside till we fix this.
From here, they end up going to a small convenience store, which apparently in rural Texas, small convenience stores sell weaponry, which I thought was interesting. They walked in, they're like, can we get a shotgun? And I just thought, okay.
The guy did not bat an eye.
Yeah, no. And they had not just a shotgun for sale, multitudes of shotguns. And then I noticed as he moved, tons of handguns and all kinds of ammo. And looking around, I'm pretty sure they had more guns and more ammo than they did food and beverages.
Yes. It was Larry's convenience store and arsenal.
Yeah. Again, 1975, maybe that was the case. Maybe it's a big hunting area. I don't know.
And the guy did not even bat an eye at...
Nope, he was, here you go. Didn't ask him, what you doing? Hunting? Nope, nothing.
Hunting Satanists.
Which, by the way, at this point...
One thing we forget to mention, this is the first time they tried... Is it the first time they try to use a phone? And if
Yes, and it doesn't work.
And the guy says, oh, the lines must be down. Happens all the time.
Yeah, that because they end up going to another gas station after that, and the phone doesn't work then because he's able to call, but the operator can't hear him.
Right.
Conveniently.
And then that time the guy at the gas station says, "Oh, it's been broken for a month."
Yeah. After he wastes his money.
Why'd you let me use it then?
Yes. So at this point, I would like if I'm looking at my notes, we're about an hour and 10 in, with just 20 minutes left in the movie, which is why I say I expected a lot more to have been going on at this point. I know for all my complaints that I have and all that stuff, I am actually enjoying this movie.
I enjoyed the shit out of it.
Don't get me wrong. Now they stop at this gas station where this is the point in the movie where I realized, okay, every single person they come across acts like a complete weirdo. And that's when I realized, okay, that like I thought they had been laying it on thick. They are. They're all Satanists. They have to be.
Right.
And I believe that's where the blue tow truck shows up in the background, which again goes back to like where Kelly's looking around and sees the vehicle and the paranoia factor comes back in, which again, I really like that. It's like it kept them all on their toes.
She was the only one that was terribly paranoid about. And she was from the very beginning.
And at that point, they like when Roger got out to go use the phone, they locked the doors this time. Like they were like, we're not taking any chances.
But like you said, they didn't take enough precautions because you and I, we would have drove nonstop to get to safety. And
I really feel like this, like for me, this is where the movie finally comes into its own because this is the last like 20 minutes of the movie. This is where the big chase scene finally takes off. And
the chase scene kicks butt.
I thought it was amazing. I do have some questions about the logic of things that happen in the chase scene because, I mean, there's some physics things that I had to wonder about because, I mean, maybe bullets work different in 1975 than they do now, and maybe cars explode differently than they do now, but I don't. There's a red truck that you have seen since the beginning of the movie.
That's been tailing them.
That has been pretty much following them. The blue truck, you finally they do show that it is one of them. Then there's a box truck that's following them. There was another car, wasn't there? There was a car that was chasing them. As the box truck comes up on the side of them, what I was baffled by is Frank has the shotgun, and folks, think of a Ryder truck or a U-Haul. If you're going to shoot somebody who's driving a U-Haul, you're not going to shoot the back of the U-Haul. And
Thank you.
Frank's first shot is right into the back of the U-Haul.
But it's not his last shot into the back of the U-Haul. He puts several shots.
And then he finally makes one shot into the side door of the front cabin, and that is what causes the truck to flip over and crash.
Right. I mean, come on, Frank. These are rookie mistakes. You go for the tires. What are you doing?
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, that's what I thought too. I was
and you
like,
have a shotgun, so it won't be hard hitting tires.
Then the red truck and them are battling. And as the red truck and them are battling, like hitting each other on the sides, this is where I'm confused by the physics of how things work inside engines, I guess. They push it and it goes off the bridge. And as it goes off the bridge, for no reason whatsoever, it just explodes. like no reason at all. I thought it was amazing.
I did too. I loved it.
But I just didn't get, I was like, why did that happen? I mean, it was like, whatever. I was like, but I'll allow it. I 100% was perfectly fine with it at that point. Now, I don't remember at what point during because I know like they start getting on, because on the back they had the bikes, and I know they start climbing onto the vehicle. And by like they start trying to get through the windows and stuff by climbing up on that, and then that's when
and you get Satanists up on the roof of the RV.
Yeah, because they start like pouring like gasoline or something in through the top of that, and that's when like
through the vent.
And Peter Fonda is fighting Roger is fighting them out the window, and then he decides he's going to go out the back, which I also thought was awesome that they did that. And I love that he went up to the top, and I really loved that when he was on top, that they honked the horn as they were coming to the bridge, and that one Satanist just turns around and just smashes right into the bridge.
And then Peter Fonda yells, "Hey!" Gets his attention, makes him stand up right as the bridge takes him out. I thought that was the shot of the movie.
No, I agree. Like that was probably my favorite moment of the entire scene. I expected more of that from this movie, because like when I watched the trailer, that was like some of the stuff they showed as like the highlights of that, and I'm like, and that's what ruined it for me. I was like, the trailer kind of made me expect a different movie.
Now, see, I did not watch the trailer. That could be a little bit why I thought this movie was so amazing.
It's possible. I was expecting a different film.
And I got to be honest, my notes thin out towards the last third of the movie because I am just so swept up in it at that point. I'm wanting these.
But it's pretty much like from there, they end up like, because there's still a little bit more chasing going on, because they come to a fake crash scene where a school bus, and this is something I loved.
And Warren Oates sniffs it out. He's like, there ain't no school on Sunday.
Yeah, it's a school bus that a fake wreck was set up to kind of get them to slow down and stop. And he was like, I don't believe no school bus on Sunday. And he just barrels right on through, and which was good on him.
Right.
And they get away. They end up knocking the last car off, and they're safe from the Satanist.
But then they come across some construction on a Sunday, which is also shady.
But it seems legit because the construction company is there. It was a city that they were going to. The city they were going to that was going to take them to the highway they were trying to get to. And so as they get around here, they decide we need to rest.
Right. Because their headlights have been knocked out. And
it's getting dark. I would have done anything I could to not have to stop.
Right. I would have drove 15 miles an hour just in the dark to keep moving.
It would not have mattered for me. And obviously they park, and lo and behold, the Satanists appear. And every single person you ever saw in this movie is a Satanist.
Yeah, and I have questions. With them using the construction as a subterfuge to get them to turn off onto a different street or road, did they end up guiding them back to where they started? Is that the same tree that they see?
I don't think so, because the truck had the name of the city that they were trying to get to on, like the work vehicle said city of blah blah blah. I can't remember what the name of it was. But it had it on there, so I thought they were near that city. So they are off.
But you never see the city.
That's true. They could have been misdirecting them the whole time and turning them around, because they didn't know where they were.
Right.
Because they do make a point earlier in the movie to say these guys know these roads like the back of their hands, and that could have been foreshadowing in order to explain that.
And apparently,
because that's something that we did.
Our heroes start this journey without a map. Apparently,
yes, geniuses, because that's something you do in 1975. And they do make a point, and it's something I glossed over, is earlier on in the movie is when the cops are taking him to the scene of the crime. they do point out that the cops just magically just took them to the scene of the crime without ever asking where's the scene of the crime. They just took them there.
Right.
So it is highly possible they ran them around in a circle.
They make a point of saying these cops knew exactly where to turn.
Yep.
But they dismiss it as, oh, these cops know these roads like the back of their hand.
See, now you got me questioning my thoughts on whether or not, like, there's so much more to this movie that I'm like, maybe I was hating on it and I shouldn't have been. I think like so much of my, like, how I felt about it just came from being disappointed that it wasn't Mad Max Fury Road 1975 style, because I swear to God the trailer made it seem like that's what it was.
That's what you were getting.
Yeah. But going back to what the very end of the movie, they end up parking, all the Satanists show up, a ring of fire lights around the outside of the RV, right. And that's the end of the movie. And that's it.
And I was not watching the clock. I did not know how much time was left. And I literally say, is that it? OMG. I was like, that's awesome. I mean, that's it. They are toast. I love it. They get parked and they're like, I'm going to make you guys some martinis.
Yeah,
like
the driest you've ever had. No, because there would have been no thoughts about getting drunk, because I'd have been loading up the shotgun and I would have been up all night.
I would have been making Molotov cocktails with those.
Dude, you'd have seen my face. I don't know if you remember back in the day, like when they would show close-ups in Ren and Stimpy of like how gross everybody's faces and eyeballs looked. My eyeballs would have looked like that in the morning because I'd have been up all night ready. I'd have told them Satanists. I'd have been like, I ain't going to kill all of you, but some of you is going down.
Right. You ain't getting it.
I'd have been Wyatt Earp.
You guys are going to have to hit a moving target because I ain't stopping. That's how I would have been.
Yeah, no way. So on a scale of 5, Justin, what'd you give it?
I'll give it a solid 4.
Solid 4.
I super enjoyed this movie, and like I said, it was so good I lost track of time the amount of time had passed.
We're not that far off. I gave it 3.5.
Right.
So I mean
we're close.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I brought it down just because I thought I wanted more of the end throughout the movie, and there just wasn't enough of it. I felt like, and I did find myself a little bit bored at times, and I thought they laid it on a little too thick with, are these people Satanist or not? It was like, yeah, they are. Nudge, nudge. Yes. It was like, come on. And one of the things I did also think about was, as they were like thinking they were getting away towards the end of the movie, and another thing I glossed over is because we're really good at this. Early on in the film, the police said, why don't you go on about your trip and have fun, blah, blah, blah. We'll
investigate this.
We'll investigate this and let you know we got your addresses. And I was thinking at the end of the movie, it's like, they're going to die. They've got their home addresses.
Right.
Like I knew
these Satanists are not going to stop.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. But like, what were they going to do? I mean, they covered up their tracks. I mean, they couldn't prove anything. So what was the point? I mean, the sheriff could have just came out and said, yeah, we couldn't find anything. We think they're nuts, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I mean, was there really any purpose for the Satanists to go after them?
No, none at all.
No, I felt
these guys are never going to be able to prove that anything happened out there. They make a point of saying Peter Fonda grabbed up a bunch of the bloody dirt, and they're going to get to the Amarillo Police Department, and they're going to analyze this,
yes,
and prove it's human.
Because
that will never happen.
Yeah, because as you know, you can just walk into a police department and ask, can you analyze this pile of dirt for human blood?
Yes.
And the police department is going to be like, sure, no problem.
Sure, no problem. We'll have that answer for you in an hour.
Yeah. and then they're going to go, now what?
Right.
I mean, and then, okay, great, you got human blood. They're going to go back to the scene of the crime and be like, okay, now you saw some Satanists? Sheriff's going to say,
we found no evidence.
Yeah, nothing. So either way, 3.5 out of 5. Justin gives it a 4. Like I said, you can find it just about anywhere. The streaming service, you got to pay for it, unfortunately.
Right. This is a movie that's been on my radar for years, but it's never been. I've always held off on watching it. I wanted to not have to pay for it, and it has never been available streaming anywhere for free. And we finally just broke down and plunged in, and I loved it. I
had never heard of it. Justin's the one who brought it to my attention. I'm like this. That's one of the things about this podcast that is going to do for me. It's going to take me down a cinematic journey into a rabbit hole in which I have never been. So
that's right. We are wanting to discover movies that we have missed.
They won't all be older movies. They may be newer movies that we missed, or I've seen Justin hasn't, or Justin has and I haven't. So, I mean, it just depends. I mean, it could also be something we just really love and we both want to talk about on here. So you never know what you're going to get.